Deborah Bauer, and this is the library's basic class on Windows 7, File Management, Word, and Internet Explorer. Today on Windows 7, we're going to talk about logging in, Windows 7 basics, and logging off. When you first come to the computer, you're going to either be at a screen that's blue with some writing on it. You click on OK, and then you're going to type in directory / that's a slash that's above the enter key, your CVCC username, and your CVCC password. This will allow you to save files to your computer, and these files can be accessed anywhere on campus. If you don't know your username or password, you can log into the library's account, cvedu/library. Again, that's the / going to the left above the enter key. And this may not let you save files on the desktop. If it does, make sure you delete them and empty the recycle bin, otherwise somebody could get your work. Let's first talk about some basics of the mouse. When you see a recycle bin on the computer, it's usually at the top left-hand corner of your screen. It has items in there that you've deleted from your computer. If you move your mouse up to touch the recycle bin, a white box will appear showing that you have the item selected. When you left-click with your finger and double-click on the recycle bin, it will open it. The contents of the recycle bin are in the middle of the screen. You can delete anything from this computer, it goes into the recycle bin. If you delete from a USB stick, it will not go into the recycle bin, it will just be gone forever. There are 4 items in the recycle bin in this case. On the menu bar, you can see that you can empty the recycle bin by clicking on Empty Recycle Bin. This will delete everything in that recycle bin. Or on the menu bar, you can click Restore to restore all items back to their original position. As you can see, you can click on an individual item and delete just that item or restore that item. Make sure that you delete everything in the recycle bin if you're on the library account. Now we come to the Start menu button. It is the ball that's in the left lower hand corner of the screen, and as you can see, it has a multicolored ball. You're going to click on this to get access to programs. When you click on it, you'll see some programs that are at the beginning of the menu. You'll see, in this case, like Microsoft Word, which has been opened before. You click on all programs to get access to other things if they're not listed in this menu. You click on the down arrow on the scroll bar to scroll up and down the screen. You click on the scroll bar itself to move it yourself. And then you can click on the down scroll bar at the bottom of the screen to scroll the bar downwards. Now this scroll bar you'll see on many screens in Microsoft Office or in other programs of Microsoft, so it will work the same way. In this particular case, we're going to click on the left mouse button on the item Internet Explorer that's already been opened once before. You can click on this if it's on the desktop or in the Start programs. Now, if you're logged into the library account, like I said before, you may not be able to save files to the computer. If so, you want to have USB drives, which you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. You cannot save anything to that library account, or at least you used to not be able to save anything to it. But if you're logged into your own account, you can save anything to the hard drive, and when you log into any other computer on campus, you'll be able to get access to those files. Your work has to be saved first to something before it can be emailed to an instructor. You must log off all of our computers, even the library account, before you leave. Now make sure you go down to the Start button, which is that multicolored ball in the left-hand corner of the screen, and select Log Off. Never ever shut down our computers, please. Now that basically ends the information on basic Windows 7. Now we'll talk about file management. As As we saw before, there are many types of flash drives that you can utilize. These flash drives are either called USB flash drives, USB thumb drives, USB sticks, memory sticks, or jump drives. They come in all shapes and sizes. To use these drives, plug them into the left-hand side of your monitor. We ask that you plug them in there instead of on the computer box because some of the computer box USB ports have been disabled on some systems. When you plug your drive in, you're going to see a box open that looks like this. Wait for this box to open and then click on Open Folder to view your files to see the contents of your stick. In this particular case, I've got a removable stick that's called the E drive. Now yours could be called D, E, F, G, any letter of the alphabet. It depends upon what all is on your system, what it will be called. To give the stick a name, what you would do is right click on the stick and select Rename from the menu. In this case, I gave the file the name D. Bauer. You can name it anything you want. You get up to 8 characters. Now some flash drives won't let you rename them, so if it doesn't work, you probably have a flash drive that won't permit this. Do not put a period or an extension on that file name, just give it something simple. The right side of the screen shows you what's on that stick. In this particular case, on this example, I don't have anything on my file drive. We're going to create a file that you're going to put your name, address, phone number, and any other pertinent information you want in that file, so in case you lose your stick here on campus, maybe we can get in touch with you and get your stick back to you. In my case, I'm going to name my file Deborah Bauer USB stick. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on Start Programs and go to Accessories. Then you're going to click on Notepad. The next thing you're going to do is type your name, address, and any other pertinent information like phone numbers into that file. And then you're going to click to save that file on your E drive. In this case, I called my file Deborah Bauer USB stick. Now by using Notepad, this file can be opened on any computer, no matter what it has. Even if it's a Mac computer, it can be opened. You can see what's in your file by double-clicking on the file on the right-hand side of the screen. It will show you the contents of your file that you typed in. And hopefully you typed in information such as you see on the screen here. The next thing you're going to do is if you need to make any changes, you make the changes that you want. You can either click this X button at the top right, and then after you click the X, it will ask you if you want to save. If you haven't changed anything, it will just simply close the file. The next thing we're going to do is talk about being able to delete or rename files. What you would do is click on in this case we're going to talk about saving documents to your documents directory. What you can do is click on Documents and save it to the Documents directory instead of your USB stick. And I suggest that you do this if you're logged in under your name. That way you can get access to these files anywhere on campus. I would suggest though that you do back up your files to a USB stick because anything can happen to the server files and you want to have a backup of those so that you have your work in case something does happen. Now we're going to talk about making folders. What you're going to do to make a folder is you're going to click on New Folder Toolbar, and what you want to do first is select either your USB stick, which is right down here. In my case, it's E or F, or you can click on Documents to make a new folder. Again, everything I'm saying from this point forward can be done on Documents or it can be done on your USB stick. When you click on that folder, it's going to create a file called New Folder. Then it's going to let you type inside of that to name it what you want. What you can do is 3 times make new folders and call them something like Fall 2014, Spring 2014, Summer 2014. If you misspell or want to change the name of a folder, what you would do is simply right-click on that particular folder name or file. If you want to rename a file, like you save a Word document and you want to call it something else than what you call it, you would right-click on it and select Rename. Now I can double click on the folder in this example is Fall 2012 to open it. Once I open it, then I can create class folders within Fall 2012. So what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to, as you see right now, I don't have any files in that folder. I'm going to create 3 folders, and I'm going to call them new folder. It's going to be English 111, History 101, SDV 100, and Math 120. You, of course, would name these files according to whatever classes you're taking. And to create the files, again, you would click on New Folder. So again, you're going to name them according to whatever classes you're taking for Fall 2014. The next thing you're going to do is you can sort your folders. Let's say that you made your folders and they're not necessarily in alphabetical order. What you can do is click on next to where it says name in the upper right hand, in the middle of the screen, upper left hand rather, in the middle of the screen, and it will sort it reverse alphabetically first, and then you click it again and it will sort it alphabetically. You can do this on any file where it has name at the top of the screen. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to, let's say we want to delete a folder. We would highlight English 111, we would right click and select the delete button. And this will delete whatever that folder is, and if you have files in that folder, it's going to delete all the contents of that folder, so make sure what you're doing before you delete a folder. You can delete a file the same way by selecting the file name and selecting the delete button. If you want to rename that file instead of deleting it, you would simply select rename instead, and then you can call it whatever you want to. If you have a Word or Excel or PowerPoint document, make sure you don't change the extension, because that will affect whether or not the program can open that file. Now let's say we want to save a file to our folder and we have it open in Word. The first thing we're going to do is open it in Word, type in anything that you want to have typed into that. Then you're going to click Save, and you'll see this in a little while when we look at Word. Navigate to your drive, so you navigate to either the E or the F drive, or you can navigate to the Documents folder. You would click on the Fall 2012, and then you would click on English 111. And as you can see at the top, it shows you exactly where you're at. I'm on the E drive in Fall 2012, English 111. You would click the file name area and give your file a name. Now you want to name this something according to what the instructor wants, so they'll know what homework assignment you're turning in. Then you would click on the Save button to save this file. Again, you can save this to your USB stick, or you can save it to Documents. Okay, that ends basic file management. Now I'm going to go over some Word information, and this presentation will be done live. The first thing you want to do to open Word is go down to your Start button, which is the multicolored ball in the left-hand corner of your screen. You'll either see Word up in the Programs because it's been listed before, or you click on All Programs, and then you go down to Microsoft Office 2013 or whatever version it currently is. You would click on that to open it. Then you would scroll down until you find Word 2013. I have a file that I want to open, so I'm just going to click on that file itself, and it will automatically open Word for me. Now, as you can see, in Word, we have many items at the top of the menu bar. We have File, Home, Insert, Design, Page Layout, References, Mailings, Review, and View. If I click on File, that will open up a screen to the left that shows Info, New, Open, Save, Save As, Print, Share, Export, Close, Account, and Options. If I want to create a new file, I would click on New, and then it will give me a list of items that I can have as a template. So in this case, if I want a blank document, I would just select Blank Document. If I want to use one of the other formats, I would click on that. Open allows me to open an existing file. If I click on Open, as you'll see, it'll show recent documents, which are on the right-hand side, and it'll show me which documents I've recently opened. I can also go to a SkyDrive. I can go to my computer, and if I click on the computer, I can navigate either to my USB stick or I can navigate to Documents and find my file there. Save will let you save the file that's open. If you've already gave it a name, it will save it back to that same file name. But in this case, I'm going to click Save As because I'm going to show you when you save the first time what it will ask you. The first thing it will ask you is where do you want to save this file? I can click on Computer, and in this example, I'm going to just use Documents. I can go to Documents, and I can click on My Documents, and then I can click and create a file in that directory. In this case, I could call it, is my example here, 3 Introduction to Word. I can click on Save to save that to that directory. Also, when you do a Save As, let me go back to that. I can come down here to where it says Save As Type right underneath my file name, and I can save it as a Word 97 2003 document in case your instructor doesn't have the current version of Word, or I can save it as a PDF file. And if you're on a Mac system, you want to save it as a PDF before you take it to our computers to print, otherwise it might not print right. You can save as a PDF on Mac as well if you have Word. I can go to Print button, and in the Print button, if you look in the middle of the screen there, right past the menus, I have Print and I have number of copies. I also have which printer is selected, and it will select the right printer for the room. I can print all pages, or I can say print current page, or I can do a custom print. But the other way to do a custom print is just come down to the Pages box and type in what you want. If I only want the first 3 pages, I would type in 1-3, and there's no spaces in that. It would be just 1-3. If I just want page 5, I would just type a 5 and then hit the Print button. If I want all pages, then I'll leave it set to print all pages. You can only print to one side on our computer, so please don't change that. You cannot collate. You can change the portrait orientation from portrait to landscape. And you cannot change the letter size. It has to be 8.5 by 11. You can change the margins for this particular printout, and I wouldn't mess with the 1 page per sheet. I would leave that alone. The other thing you want to watch out for in all Microsoft products is this down at the bottom where it says page 1 of 9. That shows you exactly how many pages you're going to be printing. You get 5 pages per day for free in the library. Then after that, it's 5 cents a page. If you print 25 pages and you haven't printed any free yet, then you'd be paying us $1 for those extra 20 pages. Now you have to pay for them whether you want them or not. If you print them, you pay. The other thing that you can do in Word is you'll notice if I click back on the arrow key at the top of the blue, it'll take me back to my menus. In there, my first button is Home. If you notice in Home, I've got the first block there, it says Clipboard. I've got Paste, Cut, Copy. If I highlight a section of my text, I can copy it, which will make like a photocopy, and then I can paste it somewhere else in my document. If I cut it, it takes it out completely, as if it weren't not supposed to be there. If you notice at the top of my screen, I have some icons. I've got the purple floppy disk, which stands for save. I got the left arrow, which stands for undo. The right arrow, which stands for redo, means to do it again. And I'm going to click on Quick Print, and I'm going to click on Spelling and Grammar so that I have those available to me as well. If you're logging into your account, you might want to set those up so they're readily available to you. In the next block, it's called Font. If you'll notice, I'm on Cambria. I can change that font to Arial or to any other particular font that I want. I can change the size of the font to 14 to 16 or lower. I can highlight my text and change all of it at the same time. Going across the top of that box, I can increase the size of that font, or I can decrease the size of that font by just clicking on the big A and the little a. I can change the sentence case. In this case, I got capitalize each word, but I could change it to sentence case where it shows the first word is capitalized and the second word is not capitalized. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to capitalize each word. Down at the bottom of that menu, I have bold, which will make it darker. I can have italicized, which will make my words italicized. I can do underline, which will underline those words I have highlighted. I can do a strike through, which kind of designates that I don't want that in there anymore. If you're doing footnotes or bibliographies, you can do Superscript, which is the first one, or you can do Subscript or Superscript, which is the second one. You can change the font and looks of that particular word by clicking the special text. You can put a color behind those words, like in this case I had yellow, which was my default. Or I can change the font of those particular words. Now I'm going to go back and do my undo until I get my word back the way I had it originally. As you can see, I can keep undoing until I get it back to originally where it was. One more to get it to capitals. Okay, then the next box is paragraph. If you notice the top of that paragraph, I've got bullets that I can utilize. And to click on the home again, I've got numbers, which is the next one, which I can do a simple outline, or I've got a multi-list outline, which is what my document is. The other thing is I can go to a line and I can hit the next box, which is decrease indent. So in this case, it takes my A and makes it a Roman numeral 2 because I brought it back to the main line. Or I can increase the indent and it will change it back to a capital A because I have a multi-valued list. I can sort A to Z or reverse sort any column of information. And the paragraph marker will show you where special characters are in your document in case you need to edit it. To get rid of that, you just simply click the special character again. On the next line down, you've got left justify. So in this case, if I come up to the heading, I can click on left justify to left justify my text. I can click center to center my text. I can click right justify to right justify. Or I can justify across the whole page if I have normal text. In this case, I've got returns at the end of my line, so it's not going to justify to show you what I mean. The next one is your is how many spacings you want between lines. In the first example, you got 1, which is single space. I've got 1.15 to leave a little bit more room. I can go to 1.5, or I can go to 2 to double space, and so forth. I can highlight a line, and I can make the background of that line to be gray or any other color that I want by simply hitting the pour box. The other thing I can do is I can enclose that line by putting a bottom border. I can put a top border. I can put a left border. I can put a right border. And I can also say all borders, or I can go back and select no borders. That's just another way to enclose your text. I'm going to do the undo button to take off everything I've done. Now the next thing is the next box where you have your styles. You can click on something and say you want normal style, which is normal spacing with normal text with no spacing. I'm going to undo that. I can go to heading where I have a heading text. I can have a heading type 2 text or heading type 3 text, and you just play around with those to see how they work. Now the next thing is insert, which is at the top of the bar. On insert, I can insert a cover page, which will put a blank page at the very beginning of my document. I can insert a blank page, which will give me a blank page wherever my cursor happens to be sitting. And because I have a multi-valued list here, outline is going to give me item C because I did this right after item B. I can do a page break, which will take all my text from where my cursor is and move it down to the next page. I can insert a table, so if I click somewhere where I've got blank space, I can click on the table and I can say I want up to as many columns as I need, and I can go down as many rows as I need. So it will insert a table for me. Also on insert, you can insert pictures. In these pictures would be pictures that you have on your documents folder or on your USB stick. I can go online and search for pictures. I can insert shapes, which gives me all kinds of shapes that are available to me. I can insert smart art, which gives me all kinds of different types of art that I can insert. I can insert a screenshot if I've taken a screenshot. And the other thing that you can do is you can insert headers and footers. Now, if you'll notice at the top of my document, I have a header. I have the date, my text as far as what my document is about, and page numbers. I did this by going into Insert and selecting page number or selecting headers. You can do it either way. If you've already got text in your header, then what you want to do, if I take out the page, what I want to do is select page number, and I want to select current position so that it doesn't delete my other text. Then I can go down and say I want page 1 of 1, or in this case, because I have 9 pages, it will insert 1 of 9. That's how you get page numbers in your document. You can select on footer to go to the footer of your document, which is at the bottom of your page, and insert information. You can also insert text box, and it gives you different examples of different types of text box you can insert, and then you can type what you want inside that particular text box. And you can also do different word styles for those words in that text box. The other thing that's very, very useful under Insert is Find and Replace. If I go to Find, I can search for like the word Start, and it will highlight everywhere in my document where I have the word Start. Even if I have the word Started, because it can find Start in the middle of that word, it'll highlight it. And it'll show me a list of them on the left-hand side. The other thing I can do is I can go to Replace, and I can take my Start word and change it to Begin. But you have to be careful when doing that, because if you replace words, in this case, if I replace Started with Begin, it would not have a proper word there because it would be Begin with an ED on it. So you have to be careful when you're replacing text like that. You can replace them either by replacing all, or you can replace them by doing Find Next and replace them one by one so you can take a look at them first. That's a very useful tool. Now if I go to Page Layout, on the left side we have margins, and it gives me preset margins where I have 1 inch all the way around my paper, I have 0.5 inches around my paper, or I can go down to custom margins and I can set my margins exactly the way I want them. This will set it for the whole document. Again, you have orientation where I can say portrait or landscape. Do not change size. And if I have some free text, I could type in columns, and I can specify 1, 2, or 3 columns, and it will put my text in columns like a newspaper. That's all that we're going to cover on Page Layout. References we're not going to cover. Mailings we're not going to cover. Review is another item that you want to make use of. In Review, if you don't have your spelling at the top of your very top of your bar, you can come here and do spelling and grammar checking, and it will highlight anything that it thinks is a spelling or grammar error. In this case, I have cite, and I've got 2 spaces before my hash mark, so it's asking me if I want to take that extra space out. So I hit change and I take it out. This is highlighting DOCX because it doesn't recognize it as a valid word, but I know that's the extension for a Microsoft file, so I want to keep that, so I would say ignore. And you can go throughout your document, spell checking it, to find what needs to be fixed. If you have a word, you can also highlight it, and let's say I click the Start button, or the word button instead. So let's say I want to use some other word instead of button. I can click on Thesaurus, and it will give me a list of words, and I can click on one like key, and it will open up more words for that particular item. If I click on top of the word key, well, I thought it would automatically replace, but this will give me other words that I can use in place of the word button so that I can change the way I word my text. That's all we're going to cover in Review. Under View, we have Read Mode, which gives us, like you see often when you open your documents, just gives you a simple reading view of it. I can go back to View and click on Edit Document to get back to what I want. Print layout is what you're most likely going to use. Web layout would show you how this would look if you put it up on the web. And outline will show you how you have this in the outline mode if you've done what I've done and have a multi-list that I'm using for my document. I'm going to go back to View, and I'm going to change this back to Print layout. The other thing is you can zoom. You can zoom to 100 or 200% or 75%, or you can type in or scroll to exactly what percentage you want to view your document in so that it's easier to read. I can either read this in one page mode, which is what it's in, or I can see multiple pages per screen, and I can also set the page width. That's the basics of Microsoft Word, and if you don't want to change your file when you get through with it, click on Don't Save. If you do want to save all your changes, then click on Save. In this particular case, I don't want to write over my original file, so I'm going to click Don't Save. Now we're going to talk about Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer gives you a vast amount of information, and a lot of times when you first open Internet Explorer, you're at the CVCC's homepage, but if somebody else has changed that homepage to be something else, then you may be at a different page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in www.cvcc.bccs.edu to go to the CVC homepage. Once I've done that, if you're logged in as yourself, you can come over to this little sprocket on the right-hand side of Internet Explorer. You can go down to Internet Options, and you can choose Use Current. So that the next time you open your browser, it'll be here at the CVCC homepage. If I go to Current Students, which is in the middle of the page on the right-hand side, and click on that, then if I go down to where it says Services in blue, and then go down to where it says Text Messaging Alert System in red and click on that, I can create a record so that I can get text messages every time CVCC is closed so that I know not to come to campus. You have to wait for it to get to the site, and then what we're going to do is create a new account. If you've already created an account, you wouldn't create a new one, but you're going to click the Create New Account button if you've never created an account before. What you're going to do is type in a username, your first name, last name, and a password. Your username and your password is how you get into your account. What I would suggest is you use your CVCC, My CVCC username and password so you don't have to remember yet another password. You would type in your mobile number without dashes, and you would type in what type of carrier. If you're using Alltel or Verizon, you would select that particular carrier. If you're only at the main campus, you would select the main campus so you only get alerts when the main campus is closed. And the next thing is the opt-out date. If you notice, it's only set to May 30th. If I know I'm going to be here for a few years, I may want to set it to another date. Then you have to click Agree to Terms before you can say Create Account. Once you create the account, then you'll start getting text messages about when CVCC is closed. Now the next thing I want to talk about is getting to the CVCC library page. If I go to Resources, which is the tab next to the last on the upper top, go to Library, you'll see our main library page. First you'll see Quick Search, which allows you to search our card catalog, which has our books and our DVDs and our internet resources. It also searches some databases, so you'll get journal articles if you have a hit on what you're searching for. Beneath that is our mission statement, and then beneath that are our hours for fall, spring, and summer. Just above hours, you'll see click here to go to the information reference page. If I go to the information reference page, I can see underneath the blue bar, the first blue bar, online library catalog. That will take me to my catalog so that I can search for books, DVDs, or internet resources. Underneath the second blue bar are our online journal articles. This is for journal articles that you can search for doing your papers. Now we have two classes, one that shows you how to search the catalog and one that shows you how to search the databases. And those are being run just like this class is. So you want to watch the TV screens for that and your CVCC email account for when those are being run. Now some teachers have special classes just for their class, and they'll bring them to the library, and we'll do those 2 classes as well. But you can come to the generic class anytime. Now, the other thing you can do is search the internet. Let's say I want to search Lincoln. You can search anything you want. And then I find something about Lincoln, and so I go to that home page. In this case, I've got a car, so let's go back with the back arrow because I don't particularly want that. I want Abraham, so I'll go, don't want Wikipedia, so I'm going to the one below that. And here I've got a page of information about Lincoln. Let's say I want to print this page. I can go up to the sprocket that's in the right-hand corner. I can click sprocket, click print, and always click print preview. Because what it will do is it will show you what it's going to look like if you print this out. Then again, down at the bottom of the page, it's going to show you how many pages you have to print. So if you have more than 5 pages, then you might want to check to see exactly which pages you want to print. You can click the printer button here at the left to actually bring up the printer to print those pages, and then you can say pages down here at the bottom and say I only want 1 or I only want 1 through 3, so that you don't print more than that you want. The other thing you can do is you can highlight your text. Let's say if I highlight this particular set of text, I go back, go to print preview, and then I can select the middle box there and it says as selected on screen, and it will only print out what I've selected on the screen. And no matter what you do, sometimes what you're selecting to print from the internet just will not print properly. So the other thing you can do is highlight your text, right click and copy it, go back and open Word. And remember, you can, if there's an icon available to you, you can open that, or you can go back to Start, All Programs, Microsoft Office, and open Word. I can say I want a blank document. I can right click and I can paste what I copied from the website. Now sometimes you have to use this for Blackboard too, because unless it's a file, like a Word file or an Excel file, it just won't print right in Blackboard. So you have to copy and paste it into Word. And again, when you go to print in Word, if you click on print instead of just the icon, because if you click the icon, it will automatically print. But if you click the print off the file menu, then you can control what you're printing. You can see how much you're printing at the bottom right side of the screen. Now that basically covers it for everything that we've been going over in this particular class. Do you have any questions?